What is up, you guys? I'm the Crafting Cow, also known as @minecraft.build.er on TikTok and Instagram, and I'm still trying to figure out how to start my videos. Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to texture. This is something I've mentioned in every tutorial so far, and will continue to mention because it is crazy important in bringing your builds to the next level. So, what does texturing mean? It means adding variable blocks to your surfaces other than the main blocks you're using in order to make a patterned block look less repetitive. I'm going to start off showing you guys how to texture wood because it's easy and common. For some blocks, like when I'm texturing cobblestone, I'll often use 2 or 3 variable blocks, but for wood, I only use 1. I use different variable blocks for the different types of wood, but for oak planks, I use stripped oak logs. The key to texturing is making your block placement look random, but the actual act of making it look random well can be hard. Some easy guidelines to texturing with 1 variable block is, first, avoid having 2 variable blocks touch each other on any side. In the case of oak wood, do not place 2 stripped oak logs directly next to each other. Secondly, avoid diagonals as well. Sometimes I break this rule, but usually it's a good one to stick by. Try to spread out your variable blocks. I tend to work row by row. Be careful of making spread out diagonal lines or a sort of checkerboard pattern. If that happens, take them out and try again. Texturing usually takes quite a bit of trial and error. If you've ever watched a builder texturing, they'll usually place some blocks, back up to see how it looks, and then do some more. Just see if it looks random. A cool thing about variable blocks is that they can be used the other way as well. For instance, if you want to texture a stripped oak log floor, then you can use oak planks. I don't always use the respective stripped logs to texture wood though. I use the stripped logs for oak, birch, jungle, acacia, and crimson planks, but oak logs for spruce wood and spruce logs for dark oak, because I think those two blend better with the bark. For warped wood though, I prefer dark prismarine. Those stripped logs don't look too bad, and that's what I used in my castle. Acacia logs are tricky to texture, so I tend to not, but jungle logs I texture with oak logs. Moving on from wood, like I said before, for stone I use a few variable blocks, but I use different paths depending on how I want the build to come off. Using cobblestone as my main block with stone and stone brick variable blocks is my go-to, but if I want the build to look more rustic or natural, I throw in gravel and andesite and take out the stone bricks. Vice versa, if I want my build to look more put together and formal, I'm more likely to use stone bricks as my main block, with stone, polished andesite, and chiseled stone bricks as my variable blocks. But if you're looking for something a little decrepit, then throw in cracked stone bricks and andesite. The more variable blocks you include, the longer it takes to texture. It took me weeks to texture my nether castle because I used 5 blocks to texture it. Blackstone, polished blackstone, blackstone bricks, cracked blackstone bricks, and chiseled blackstone bricks. Real quick note about the nether castle and castles in general, I'm going to be having a castle tutorial up on here very soon, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if that sounds appealing to you. Back to texturing. When I want to have 2 variable blocks, I avoid having 3 of the same variable block touch each other either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. And for the main block, I avoid having any 2x2 squares in my texturing. Once it gets to 3 or 4 variable blocks, the main block is no longer the most common. It's just about avoiding having 2 of the same blocks touching for the most part, and if I can't avoid it, then I use the main block. Most of texturing is based off of how it looks to you. You're looking to make it look random. If you want some examples of what kind of blocks I texture what with, here are some examples. For sand, I texture using sandstone, chiseled sandstone, cut sandstone, and smooth sandstone. That's a tongue twister, but also occasionally birchwood. If I'm texturing on the ground, then I will texture with sandstone, but since the types of sandstone are indistinguishable, I'll use a lot more birchwood, also birch buttons, and birch pressure plates. I used it in my desert marketplace, and here is some of that right now. I did a POV tutorial for this. If you want to see it, it's uploaded on my channel. I will link that video here. As for texturing brick, which I showed at the start of the video, but I use polished granite and granite. For concrete colors, I use terracotta, wool, and concrete powder, but it can differ for colors. For texturing dark green concrete, terracotta looks awesome, but on red it doesn't look as nice, and sometimes I just won't texture concrete at all, as there's no pattern on the block to get annoyingly repetitive. All of the quartz blocks look nice together for texturing, but throwing in white concrete, wool, or concrete powder doesn't hurt, and birch logs add a nice broken down feel. Bookshelves look awesome with backwards looms for texturing because they look like empty shelves. As for how I texture my paths, it changes depending on the biome, but anywhere with grass, I texture with coarse dirt and grass path. Mesa, I texture with terracotta and maybe some wood or blocks that pertain to that build. You can see some of that in my Mesa saloon. Desert, I texture with things that have to do with the build a lot. That's how I used my brick on my desert house path. Say I was building with sandstone and wood, then I would use that wood in the place of the brick. As for the area around builds, I like adding buttons as stones, grasses, ferns, and sometimes bushes out of tree leaves. Avoid over-texturing. It's a mistake I'm very guilty of. Just look at your build and make sure the texturing doesn't distract from the build, just add depth and detail. Also, don't feel like you have to texture everything. In my modern builds, I never texture the white or black concrete because I don't think it works well with sleek designs. Keep growing and making your own decisions to improve as a builder. Thank you guys so much for watching. I recently made a Patreon. I'm not eligible for ad revenue here yet, so if you'd like to support me and get loads of benefits like a fan skin I made, shoutouts, behind the scenes content, and so much more, consider supporting me on there. Thank you, Sophie Puchulu, for doing so. Otherwise, like always, check out my TikTok and Instagram at minecraft.build.er. My new and improved Discord server is linked below, as well as my Redbubble if you'd like to support me there. I have a few merch designs up now. Check out @RoyalFools on Instagram and @RoyalFoolsBand on TikTok. They made the music for this video. Check out another video there. Check out my tutorial playlist right there. See more videos like this, hit that handy subscribe button for an awesome made-up fact. Ready to hear it? Did you hit the button? I'm gonna trust you on this one. Beehives drop gold, but only if you hit them at exactly noon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Comment what video you want next. Peace.